thank you very much, fellow Africans, and welcome to our today's episode of the Change for African campaign. So, fellow Africans, being on Monday, it's all about our first pillar of the Change for African campaign, where we focus on matters to do with the governance. Remember, governance is the source of development, so governance is very critical of how Africa, or governance, the style of governance in Africa will determine where Africa will go. So, fellow Africans, to help us exemplify our first pillar of the Change for African campaign, being our 91st episode of the Change for African campaign, will be the SDG target 17.17. That's all about promoting effective private and civil society partnerships, promoting effective private and civil society partnerships. So this is a goal that, remember, the goal itself, number 17, is all about partnership for the goals. That are all the goals from 1 to 16. They're addressing different things, but then the goal number 17 is all about now us now partnering and seeing how we are going to being able to make sure that the goals above are able to be implemented and actually executed at the end of the day. So, fellow Africans, that is what we'll be using to exemplify our 91st episode of the Change for African campaign. This comes with a lot of things in it, because remember, we have said that governance is a source of development, and so bringing together different sectors, government, businesses, and civil society to work together towards development is a very critical thing and something that should be actually accepted, because you realize that now in the African context, remember, this is a United Nations thing, means it's a global thing, but then in the African context, you realize many of these governments, perhaps because they are, there is a problem of shortage of resources to being able to do development in various sectors, so it becomes a problem on how we are going to deliver and have development in these sectors. So what we do, the best thing they can do is to have that partnerships, among themselves. We have the public-private partnerships, we have the public-public partnerships, and we have the public-civil society partnerships. All these are partnerships that can enable these government systems in Africa to be able to do development. And the thing remains that why are we trying to equate this to our first pillar of the Change for African campaign about governance? It is because we have said countless times that governance is the source of development. And so when it comes to development, and this is a target whereby it is encouraging people to have that partnerships. More so when it comes to the African governments to embrace partnerships with these public partnerships. This is among now the public institutions, or having the public-private partnerships to come and invest in critical sectors in our country. So this will only be expeditious or efficient if the government systems in place, first, they understand the importance of this, and number two, they have the good attitude, whereby because you realize that many of these African governments will have such partnerships. Also, it's linked to corruption cases, because people do not actually have the public trust in these government systems. So for us to be able to see that we are developing, or we're going towards the right direction, then you need to make sure that we do really have it at heart that we are doing this for the sake of the huge population of Africa. So these partnerships are very important, and they will be determined, or the success will be determined to how the governance systems, to the kind of governance we are having in place, to the kind of characters that are in place to be able to make this to execute these partnerships, because these are very important things. Public-private partnership, public-public partnerships. These are very important things when it comes to matters of development. Development is only associated with the governance. The kind of governance we are having will define the level of development that we'll be able to achieve. So it is incumbent upon us to make sure that as we go now into the future, remember, this is the Change for African campaign, all about civilizing the African youth. So after we have done the civilization of the African youth, we understand now we are having a problem in Africa in a particular area, that we do not have development in this area. So what are we supposed to do? First, number one, what has been happening, perhaps why we have not been having the genuine public-private partnerships and public-public partnerships, and also the public-civil society partnership. It is because the kind of governance we have been having in place was not promising to this partnership, so it was not able to be executed. So what do? We now bring back the public trust. We bring back the investors' trust, so that they can able to trust these governance systems in Africa and be able to partner with the governments to be able to invest. But also the other thing is because sometimes actually the partnerships, sometimes they do collide with these governments, they conspire with these governments so that they can be able to actually swindle the public funds. It also happens in Africa, whereby from the government itself, the governance system, and also the people they are, claiming to be partnering with, they're actually conspiring to maybe do what is not supposed to be done, or even stealing for the people. So this one will also call for, now once we have the right people in place, now the right governance systems in place, they are able now to even also approach the right partners, to be able to partner with, so that what we are doing is only, it's one point oriented, whereby we want to deliver for the African people or the African society. That is what we're speaking about when it comes to the goal of the SDG target 17.17 or 78.17. So this is all about governance. So tomorrow let us meet when we discuss about one of the key targets. Of course, we have been going through several SDG targets as we equate that to the second pillar of the Change for African campaign, all about the potential that we have as an African continent. So fellow Africans, allow me to end at that point. Let's meet tomorrow as we discuss more about the Change for African campaign. Thank you and have a great time. Thank you.